good things that we can grow and take it to the international and even grow our economy.
What we had in mind by doing this cake is culture, Nigeria culture. So we try to pick some aspects of the culture. We have the fruits, we have our beads, coral beads, we have cowries, we have the leopard skin, which is African culture. We have the bamboo sticks, and we have kola nuts. There is no meeting without kola nuts in the Nigeria culture. And we have agbalumo, and we also have a plate of different fruits. We have pear, garden eggs in the plates. So it's very rich. And it's also designed, it's calabash design. And we have coconuts and the hops.
The light is also to show that if it is meant now for a wedding cake, that is, there is light, there is brightness in where they are going, So this also shows that even in this nation, despite all the challenges we have in this nation, ahead of us there is brightness, there is light. And that is why we have that light. And the flowers are all sugar, they are all edible, they are just like sweet that you can just break and eat.
The event was also an opportunity for some secondary school students on excursion to experience the culinary arts. They went around the cake gallery.
Bakers are like a big part of the world. They create lots of beautiful things using sugar crafts. My mom is a baker, so I've seen all the wonderful works they do, and I want to be a baker in future.
Everything is actually very colorful. If you want to be a cake maker or a baker in future, and you're seeing things like this, you know that, when I grow up and I start making my own things, it can be advertised here,
Seeing different cakes and designs, and there are lots of concepts here I've never seen before. Yes.
The big day of sharing ended with a Sugar Craft Life Challenge competition, where 4 groups of cake makers worked hard to craft their ideas to life within a limited time frame. A group emerged winner after the competition.
Abuja Federal Capital Territory 2019 International Cake Exploration Society Life Challenge Competition. CJ!
Victory is sure sweet.
It's an educational cake, at the same time carrying colors, carrying what children can go along with. So we are trying to preach out education and at the same time align with them on what they love to do most. They love to play. They love to play with colors. So we decide to showcase that in sugar.
The 2019 IC's Big Day of Sharing was so insightful, colorful, and exciting that participants can hardly forget it in a hurry.
Because you can see like the cake displays, you see the array of talents, the different designs, different things you will not even imagine to come through sugar craft. You now see other people's creations. It gives you ideas. Okay, next time I want to do a cake, I can put in this, I can bring it this, I can bring it that. So it's usually very, 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 very informative, very educative, and very inspiring.
I learned a lot. There were things that ordinarily, if I didn't come, I thought I could do them. But when I came for the classes, there were other easier ways that I found that I could do, and then faster ways. And I bonded with people, I shared ideas, and then learned a lot, and also connected with people who were higher than me.
Are you ready?
That was quite colorful, isn't it? Well, it's apparent from what you've seen that Nigerian bakers are actually playing their roles in nation building. That's all we have for you today on Baker's World. You can follow us on all our social media platforms for your feedbacks, like and comment through our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It's Baker's World on NTA. Till we come your way next week with a more exciting episode, I am Funke Oyeyele. Thank you for watching.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the Star Times platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
Yes. Oh. Now my dirty they smell like this. Now to throw away am quick. This kind smell fit make man sick. That woman throw away dirty for ground. Me sef go do the same this time around.
Hold up.
See, to do this kind badness by the book, you make sure say person no dey look, and then you drop am nicely, bros. Nothing go happen. Trust me.
See, if you throw away dirty for ground, another person sef throw away dirty. Everybody come begin dey throw away dirty for ground. Everywhere go come dey smell. Gutter go block, road go block, and you will like to dey dab. Now you say no more dabbing for you be that oh. Dab. Yes.
Hello and welcome to Nationwide. We're broadcasting live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority from our studios here in Abuja. I'm Rhoda Anonam. We begin Nationwide with stories from the legislature at the Senate has passed a 2020 budget of 10.59 trillion naira as against the 260 billion naira, higher than the 10.3 trillion submitted by the President. Ignatius Nko is standing by to tell us more about it.
Well, it has been an intensive budget process at the National Assembly since President Muhammadu Buhari presented the budget on the 8th of October 2019. And then the Senate Committee on Appropriations has carried out budget scrutiny, and various MDAs came around and defended their budget. Well, at Wednesday's plenary, the committee presented its report, and today the budget has been approved with an increment of about 260 billion naira. Now, we are here with the Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations, who wants to tell us why the increase.
Well, what we did was that we acted on the wonderful proposal that was brought by Mr. President. But while we were processing the bill, we discovered certain revenue that were not captured. And we had to utilize the funds to now make up for those critical areas that were not fully funded. The executive is okay, they did a wonderful job, but these gaps, the revenues, the areas of revenue that were not really seen, we saw that, and then we saw them, and then we got them together and applied them to those critical areas that need further funding.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Right. Well, we have the spokesperson of the Senate here too, who wants to tell us the mood of the Senate and what Nigerians should expect from this early passage of the 2020 budget.
Well, first and foremost, I want to commend the sagacity of the Committee on Appropriation for good job done, because as a Senate and 9 Senate, we have promised Nigerians that we'll try as much as we can do to give up the budget or the bill before next year to meet up with the January-December budget cycle for proper and effective implementation. And today, as Senate, on behalf of the Senate President and all the entire senators of the 9th Senate, we want to commend the members and urge the general public for effective implementation of the 2020 budget.
Thank you for your time. Well, Nigerians are now expecting to see the impact of this early passage of the 2020 budget, especially as regards to the January to December cycle of the budget process.
Ignatius Nko there from the Senate. And similarly, the House of Representatives has passed the 2020 appropriation bill of 10.59 trillion naira. The budget is expected to run from January to 31st of December 2020 financial year.
Authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 10,594,364,830 naira only. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Appropriation bill passed.
The increase came as a result of an agreement between the executive and the legislators. There are some personnel inputs that has not been captured, equally with some capital inputs that have not been captured in the budget when the president brings in the budget. That is a decision we sat with the executive to look at it so that we can bring them within the budget, and we did.
What kind of impacts do we expect to see, since it's going to run from January 1st, 31st December 2020 financial year?
Where the impact will come more is with if you look at the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Normally project starts between the middle of the year during the rainy season, but now this project will start by January. During the dry season, Works and Housing will enjoy more about this budget than any other agency.
Now, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says very soon the Senate will constitute its Committee on Constitutional Review. In a meeting with the European Union ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Senator Lawan explained that the Constitutional Review Committee has not been set up because the Senate has been preoccupied with other issues like the 2020 budget. He said by next year, January, the committee will start some work because already the Senate has some references that require some kind of constitutional review. Lawan expressed appreciation to the EU for its support to Nigeria, particularly in the areas of electoral reforms and political development and cooperation.
An opportunity to study
the situations that then circumstances, and of course, where necessary, provide legislative remedy. This is the only way to fine-tune and sanitize our electoral system, and to such an extent that it will be more efficient. But this is going to be a little bit long process, because even countries that have practiced democracy for over 200 years are still grappling with some challenges.
We hope to be able to establish even deeper relations. We already have very strong relations with the Senate and with the National Assembly as such. As you will know, we have an entirely new leadership in place in Europe as well.
Lawan solicited more support in the areas of capacity building, particularly for the Senate Committee on INEC, National Planning and Finance. The federal government's external borrowing plan of an additional $22.7 billion is intended to ease the burden of the nation's economy and make it work better for all the benefit of all Nigerians. This was part of submissions of guests on NTS Good Morning Nigeria as they discussed the plans by the federal government to go for an external loan. Patricia Isamiluba reports.
The move by the federal government to borrow 1.92 trillion naira has generated a lot of concern in many quarters. However, the federal government maintained that the loan is necessary for the implementation of the needed infrastructural development nationwide for the benefit of all Nigerians.
The ERGP designed that we will do this by borrowing to build out critical infrastructure that are necessary to lay the foundation for growth. This borrowing plan includes railways for Lagos to Kano. It includes the coastal rail from Port Harcourt. It also includes transmission projects. It includes the Mambila Power Project. Of the 22.7 billion, 18.1 of that amount is for this major national project. There are also some economic value projects that are added. There are some projects that are meant to support the state. So the borrowing plan is for both the federal government as well as the state governments.
The minister further stated the fund will address capital projects that will stand the test of time.
It's either we borrow this low-cost, long-term loans and build critical infrastructure now to lay the basis for the growth of the economy, to improve the ease of doing business, and also enable even small and medium enterprises to grow, to increase the productivity so that they can pay taxes subsequently to government. Or we wait, we do nothing and just use our revenues to pay salaries and carry out recurrent expenditure.
If you have infrastructure, you can attract investors. You can violate all benchmarks just because you have infrastructure. And that's why Japan can get away with a debt to GDP of 223%. And then you see America, everybody getting away with it, 180% increase. They're all getting away with those simply because they have infrastructure.
While all the guests say there is the need to enlighten the citizens on the proposed borrowed fund.
The disconnect between the citizenry and those in governance has to be, okay, fine, you're building infrastructure. They see it as aesthetics, okay? If they are not going to be part of it. How they can be part of it is that government must be able to now look at those sectors that can engage people.
When you now ask for new borrowing, Nigerians are very naturally going to be very skeptical. But what we're asking Nigerians is to say, look, from the time that we initially started borrowing under this administration, President Muhammadu Buhari, you have seen the results.
The guest also submitted on the need to re-emphasize on the gains for the nation, as technically speaking, Nigeria is not eligible to even receive the loan. In Abuja, Patricia Isamiluba, NTA News.
A Kaduna High Court has ordered Directorate of State Security Service to hand over the leader of the proscribed Islamic movement of Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife to one of the correctional centers in Kaduna. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that Justice Gideon Kura gave the order at the resumed trial of Sheikh El-Zakzaky. The report.
When hearing in the case resumed, Justice Gideon Kurada was confronted by arguments from counsels for Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky and Kaduna State over the custody of the respondent and his wife. Two applications were put forward, one from the counsel to Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky asking the Honorable Justice Gideon Kurada to give respondents, that is, Sheikh Ibrahim Al-Zazaki and his wife, unhindered access to their lawyers, while counsels to the petitioner applied for Sheikh Al-Zazaki and his wife to be moved to a correctional center in Kaduna. Justice Gideon agreed with the latter.
The judge made a decision that the defendants, that is Sheikh Ibrahim Al-Zazaki and his wife Malazina, shall be moved to the correctional facility from the DSS.
So the court ordered that and adjourned to the 6th of February to start the trial proper.
It means anytime his case is called upon in the court here, he will just take a few minutes and then attend to the proceedings in court here. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTN News.
Still staying with the judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has adjourned the trial of the convener of the Revolution Now protest of Bayelsa due to the alleged refusal of the Department of State Services to obey its order on the defendant's bail. The presiding judge, Justice Ijoma Ojukwu, gave the ruling at Thursday's court hearing. Olabode Arewa reports.
At the resumed hearing of the trial of Omoyele Sowore and Adewale Bakare for alleged treasonable felony, money laundering, and cyber stalking of President Muhammadu Buhari, the prosecution counsel, Azan Liman SAN, indicated readiness to commence trial. Counsel to Sowore Femi Falana SAN told the court it was only furnished with the proof of evidence on Wednesday and that the Department of State Services had not released the two defendants to enable their lawyers have access to them for proper defense. The prosecution counsel informed the court that the DSS had complied with the provisions of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act on the matter. However, the court decided otherwise and adjourned the case to Friday to enable the defense team prepare adequately for the defense.
Will be released definitely in compliance with the court order and the terms of the condition of the bill. Definitely will be released.
We're going to report on compliance before we can decide when the case will commence.
The court also awarded 100,000 naira cost against the DSS for delaying the trial. In Abuja, Olabode, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide, and we'll join Jennifer in Lagos for more reports.
And welcome to Lagos. Now, former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor has been sentenced to a maximum of 12 years imprisonment for 7.65 billion naira fraud. Justice Mohammed Idris, who passed the judgment at the Federal High Court in Lagos this Thursday, also orders the forfeiture of his company, Lock Nigeria Limited, to the federal government.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, charged Orji Uzor, who is currently serving as a senator representing Abia North Senatorial District in the National Assembly, on a 39-count charge of fraud offences, alongside Udogu, his former Commissioner for Finance, and Slope Nigeria Limited. In one of the counts, the EFCC alleged that Kalu, who was Abia State Governor between 1999 and 2007, procured Slope Nigeria Limited, a company solely owned by him and members of his family, to retain in its account diverted funds domiciled with the then Inland Bank PLC, Apapa Branch, Lagos. EFCC claimed that the 7.65 billion naira formed part of the funds illegally derived from the treasury of the Abia State government. The defendants had pleaded not guilty to all counts. The prosecution counsel called 19 witnesses during the trial. Justice Muhammad Idris also convicted and sentenced his two accomplices, who were also found guilty of a 7.65 billion naira fraud. They got multiple sentences between 3 and 10 years. Carlo has been remanded at the Kogi prison. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Now, the need for effective implementation and enforcement of laws at checkmating issues of violence against women and girls in Nigeria has been re-emphasized at a summit in Lagos. Wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Oshibajo, at the summit restated government commitment to the protection of women's rights. Awal Yusuf Jibo reports.
Ending violence against women and girls is a global challenge, surmounting it in
Nigeria is, however, achievable. This gathering believes women-friendly policies, zero tolerance for rape, and respect for women and girls, as well as creating safe spaces in tertiary institutions across the country, are critical to this. Wife of the Vice President Olakpo Ochimbado charged women to summon the courage to speak out in the event of abuse or other forms of molestation.
I'd like to advocate for much more work on prevention. I say this because looking into the eyes of a survivor or a victim, you realize very quickly that it takes much longer to sort them out than it would have been if the matter was prevented in the first place.
The program is spread across 6 states, and Lagos State is one of them. We are really looking forward to seeing a significant change in violence against women.
Panelists at the summit also called for gender equality and implementation of relevant laws.
In a country where 1 in 4 girls before the age of 18 would have had one violent encounter, the sheer magnitude of this problem has turned into an epidemic.
We have a bill that is coming up now that's speaking to sexual harassment at the tertiary institutions. I think these are all good steps.
The summit was organized by UN Women under the Spotlight Initiative as part of efforts of the World Bank towards the emancipation of women and girls. In Lagos, Awol Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And on aviation, bill for amendment of Act 48 of 1999 Constitution of the Federal Government of Nigeria, which seeks to enhance the air navigation services of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, has been forwarded to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari for public hearing. Chairman House Committee on Aviation, Nolim Naji, said this during the committee's oversight visit to the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Michael Olaleye reports.
Chairman House Committee on Aviation, Nolim Naji, says the visit was to have a first-hand information on the state of the agency's operational equipment. The Aviation Committee members were taken on a tour of some operational sections of the agency. Chairman Inolim Naji stressed the need to upgrade NAMA equipment from manual to digital system and assured the agency of government support in the area of funding to achieve the goal.
We're also looking at the IGR, which we also believe will also pass if we approve the IGR. With the FGM budget and the IGR, they will do so many things that will benefit our people.
This is why it's very good that the chairman is here and the committee is here to see our area, what we need, what we have and what we need to upgrade on.
The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency is saddled with provision of air navigation services that will ensure safe, efficient, expeditious and economic flight operations. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Now that contribution from Lagos Nationwide continues after this break. Stay with us.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
The lead befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts of the men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the country united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, state house, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to this account. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
Nigeria is rich in culture, diversity, style, fashion and delicacies. The authentic Nigerian food, fashion and hair fair gives you the opportunity to showcase the best creativity in Nigerian food, fashion, styles in natural hair and braids. Don't miss this event. The 2-day event is taking place at the prestigious Balmoral Convention Center, Federal Palace Hotel, Amadolo Way, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time is 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily from 16th to 17th of December 2019. Register now at www.authenticniger.com.ng to book your participation as an exhibitor. For bookings and inquiries, please call 0701 312 2480 or 0812 415 4257 or 0708 006 3188 or 0812 3612 685. You can also send us an email at info@authenticniger.com.ng. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Niger Authentic. See you soon.
My name's Mr. Muftau Abiodun Balogun. We started this business 4 years ago, and this is the production outlet where we do about 4,000 to 5,000 birds per day. With the closure of the border recently, we've been experiencing massive surge in demand. Our sales per day now is going to be between 15 to 20,000 birds. We needed to expand all avenues because of the multiplier effect is creating. And the most interesting thing about this closure is that many of my farmers today are farmers we recruited recently, and they are young graduates. What the government is doing will lead us right. And I can tell you, if the government sustains this thing, sky will not even be a limit.
This Saturday on the Premier League, AFC Bournemouth go head-to-head with Liverpool.
You're welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. The second United Nations Implementation Survey on Anti-Corruption in Nigeria has been unveiled in Abuja, with the recent efforts in the fight against corruption being the focus of attention. The two-day conference is also to fast-track the implementation of the Global Anti-Corruption Plan, or Labodi Arewa reports.
That was the unveiling of the United Nations report on tackling corruption in Nigeria. Nigeria ratified the Convention on Corruption in 2004, thereby joining 136 other nations to implement the legal instruments necessary for political conduct. Efforts at implementing the SDG Goal 16 of peace, justice, and strong institutions gave birth to this conference. The EFCC and the ICPC gave status reports on the over 1,000 convictions secured so far against corrupt persons, tying the success to the renewed implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy.
Nigeria, with a multiplicity of laws and institutions, is making incremental progress in her drive to eliminate incentives for further transfer abroad of stolen assets.
The EFCC plays a key role in making national investment more secure. We feel in the National Assembly to escalate this fight against graft.
The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes wants a witness protection program to be put in place to promote whistleblowing.
And in the context of Nigeria's review, the absence of a statute of limitations for corruption offenses has been noted as a good practice.
The 2019 United Nations Anti-Corruption Day comes up on the 9th of December. The key message from this conference is for Nigerians to expose corrupt practices wherever they see such, and to ensure that all corrupt persons do not escape the law. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
In a bid to stem the tide of influx of illegal migrants into the country, the Nigerian Immigration Service has flagged off the migrant e-registration program in Benue State. Ben Anya reported that the exercise is against the backdrop of the aspiration of 6 months grace proclaimed period by the federal government.
In July this year, President Muhammadu Buhari declared 6-month amnesty to migrants who stayed in Nigeria beyond 90 days without resident permit, which expires on the 11th of January 2020. It is against this backdrop that the Nigerian Immigration Service, Benue State Command, has commenced the e-registration of migrants in Benue State. Representative of the Benue State Governor, Professor Anthony Ijoho, SAN, called on migrants residing in Benue State to use the amnesty window to register, as the database will also give government enough information for planning.
It is heartwarming to know that against the background of security challenges witnessed in the country at large, and Benue State in particular, with foreigners involved in government is hopeful that this exercise will go a long way in overcoming the security issues noted.
The Nigerian Immigration Service said the Nigerian Immigration Act 2015 and Regulation 2017 requires the service to register all migrants of 18 years and above who intend to reside in Nigeria beyond 90 days. Those who violate the statute are liable upon conviction to pay a fine or go to jail for 3 years or both. In Makudi, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
A workshop on simulation and promotion of SMEs in the metal sector has ended in Jos, with participants calling for increased patronage of made in Nigeria products as a way of promoting entrepreneurship and creating jobs. The workshop, organized by the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, has participants drawn from the states of the North Central Zone. Abba Abubakar Yakubu has the report.
Organizers of the workshop recognize the contributions of these groups of artisans in the development of metal sector, job creation, and increase the gross domestic products for more revenue generation. In line with this, the Department of Steel and Non-Ferrous Metal and the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development gather these young men and women to expose them to various ways and strategies they can employ to access series of government plans and funding.
We are trying to improve them in terms of productivity, in terms of safety, then how to hire fund, government fund.
A whole percentage of those people in the industry do not know what they need to be able to access the facilities that the government has already laid down, not just for the metals sector, but for the small-scale enterprises generally.
In an interactive session, some of the participants expressed the challenges of lack of funding, lack of patronage to local-made products, lack of consistent electricity supply, and inconsistency of government policies. However, they were appreciative of the commitment and efforts from present administration for reaching out to them.
The particular workshop that we have come, it will enhance the section of metal fabrications.
With this kind of program and with this workshop, I believe that more women will rise up and do what they are supposed to do.
Some safety kits were presented to the various groups that attended the workshop. In Jos, Abba Abubakar Yakubu, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide, and for more reports, we'll now join Mohammed in Maiduguri. Mohammed, it's over to you.
Thank you, Rhoda, and welcome to Maiduguri. Borno State government has donated 10 million naira to the State Council of the Nigerian Legion with a commitment for continued support to families of the fallen heroes. Governor Babagana Umara announced the donation when he received members of Borno State Nigerian Legion led by its chairman, Colonel William Mamza, retired, on courtesy visit to kickstart the Emblem Appeal Week in the state. Mohammed Goni reports.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day and Emblem Appeal Week is an annual event in which Nigerians celebrate the Legion for their sacrifices to the fatherland and humanity, with some paying the supreme price. Governor Babagana Umara paid tribute to the Nigerian Legion as well as men and officers of the Nigerian military for their sacrifices, which he said is reflected in their efforts to restore peace to the Northeast.
We must at all times honor and fear our greatest respect, for they all chose to die just for us to survive.
The governor then directed leadership of the State Council of the Legion to compile lists of families of the fallen heroes to enable government extend support to them. While announcing support of 10 million naira and a vehicle, he further directed the chairman to also submit lists of active members of the Legion to be involved in the security architecture of the state. The state chairman of the Nigerian Legion, Colonel William Mamza, retired, appreciated the governor for his empathy to the cause of the Legion since assumption of office, and further used the opportunity to call on members of the State Executive Council and other top government functionaries to donate to the cause of the Nigerian Legion. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Borno State government has appealed to the National Population Commission to deploy more field workers for Phase 9 of the enumeration area demarcation for Maiduguri and local government. and Jere local government areas. This was at the official flag-off exercise for the two largest local government areas in the state. Yagutu Buka reports that the occasion took place at the Government House, Maiduguri.
The flag-off exercise for the Phase 9 of the area demarcation in Jere and MMC was what informed the emerging peace in the two areas, which will also be extended to local governments. Traditional rulers as well as community leaders were brought together to ensure grassroots mobilization of the citizenry to ensure success of the enumeration demarcation exercise. Represented by his deputy Umar Usman Kadafu, Governor Babagana Umar noted the peculiar situation of Kogi and the need for special intervention in the Commission's approach and strategy.
In the last census exercise, a lot of EAS will not be implemented because of the large size.
Acting Chairman of National Population Commission, Bimbola Salawuddin, called on stakeholders to support the Commission to see to full realization of the conduct of the next census, stressing that the enumeration area demarcation exercise will not in any way determine the population of any given community. NPC Federal Commissioner for Borno, Nyobe Barrister Issa Brote said, due to security challenges in northern and central Borno, the Commission was able to conduct demarcation exercise in Biu, Bayo, Bayokutar, and Shani local government areas only, and noted the state government support of 34 million naira to complement the efforts of the federal government. Representative of INEC highlighted the collaboration between the electoral body and National Population Commission, adding that the ongoing enumeration area demarcation will address the challenges confronting INEC. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Orphans and vulnerable children in Maiduguri Future Progress School have been assured of support by Borno State Government in their quest to acquire knowledge. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulu made this known while inaugurating the permanent site for senior secondary school and livelihood support center of the institution. Mohammed Goni reports.
Future Progress School was set up by the proprietor in 2007 to educate orphans and vulnerable children at nursery and primary school. The foundation also trained 300 widows on various skills as part of its livelihood support in collaboration with UNHCR. Governor Babagana Umar assured to support the school in its quest to educate the orphans and vulnerable and advise the students to be obedient.
Staff of the Ministry of Education will collaborate with the proprietor of the school to determine the need.
The proprietor of the school, Barrister Zanna Mustafa, said the foundation does not receive funds from any INGO, adding that those the foundation collaborates with only provided training equipment and pay staff involved in the training. On behalf of other students, Fatima Mohammed and Hadiza Abba appealed to the state government to provide utility vehicle to the school and call on the examination bodies to organize the school as examination center, as the institution has all the needed facilities. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
That's all from this end. Nationwide returns to Abuja.
And thank you very much. Jigawa State Government has approved the implementation of a new minimum wage of 30,000 naira for workers in the state after 2 months of negotiation with the Joint Public Service Negotiation Council in the state. Mohammed Musa Askira reports that the Governor of Badar Abubakar announced this at the signing of the new minimum wage law that the payment will begin from December 2019.
Workers in Jigawa State will smile to the bank at the end of this month as Governor Muhammadu Badar Abubakar orders the implementation of the new minimum wage after signing the consequential adjustment of the salaries into law. The governor, who described the negotiation process as fair, honest and transparent, taking into cognizance the current economic reality of the nation and the state in particular, urged workers in the state to reciprocate the gesture by being more productive to add value to the government's efforts towards improving the living condition of the people in the state. The chairman of Organized Labour Jigawa State Council, Nusi Al-Hassan, that of the Joint Public Service Negotiation Council in the state, Hassan Awolu, expressed their gratitude to the state governor for approving the implementation of the consequential increment of the 30,000 naira minimum wage.
His problem is that when the federal government agreed on 30,000 minimum, he's the first governor that signed the agreement. But due to some problem, we are number 3 for signing this agreement. All this, we thank His Excellency for his commitment.
The government and the side have agreed that the minimum wage should be 30,000. That is the minimum wage from 1 to 6. Then the consequential increase should be made on 7 and above.
With this, Jigawa State government became the third in the series of those who signed the implementation of the minimum wage in Nigeria and ordered for its payment with December salaries from Dutse. Muhammad Musa Askira, and News.
To the complexities arising from the effect of climate change, technological advancement, and other issues confronting the world of work in the continent of Africa, the Presidential Panel, The Future of Work, has agreed to focus on the future with a view to sharing plans to facilitate structural transformation towards achieving job-rich, sustainable, and productive growth. This decision was on the sidelines of the ongoing 4th African Regional Meeting of the International Labour Organization holding in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Emmanuel Ayimiro has details.
Since the whole world is confronted with the complexities arising from technological advancement, globalization, and demographic variables, the presidential panel is to make some difficult decisions that will be followed up with deliberate actions to address those challenges which the 13th African Regional Meeting could not overcome.
We have to prepare people to navigate the digital transition, the demographic transition, which is lived in Africa in a very different way than it is the rest of the world by virtue of Africa's own demographics.
NLC President Ayuba Waba, who represented workers on the panel, was put on the hot spot.
Mr. Waba, what might we have to change in terms of our mindset, in terms of the way we do things as Africans, if we're actually going to be having a different conversation at the end of the next decade?
It's important that we actually add value to our natural resources, to our agro products, and therefore it will create the necessary jobs we require, and therefore will transform Africa, and therefore we can be at par and we can be competitive in this technological era and in this era of globalization.
To keep the hopes and aspirations of the continent and its constituent alive towards the realization of full employment for our citizens, the panel has been challenged to come up with strategies that will make Africa economy take advantage of opportunities that new technologies offer for the overall benefit of all. From Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Ayimiro. Our next set of stories on Nationwide is from Port Harcourt Network Center, and Dee Barbary is there for us.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Plans are on the way to address the concerns raised on the poor state of Rivers Port. Chairman, House Committee on Port and Harbours, Dati Gabag Mohammed, stated this during an oversight visit to the port terminal. Osinachi Abraham has the details.
Rivers Port is one of the oldest ports in Nigeria. It is currently facing many challenges. They include collapse of berth 8 and dilapidated facilities, among others. It is in view of addressing these challenges that the committee is visiting Rivers Ports and terminals. Chairman of the committee, Dati Garuba Mohammed, expressed federal government's willingness to rehabilitate the ports and resolve all issues militating against ease of doing business.
From what I've seen so far, we are not very impressed with particularly with the infrastructure. That's why we said they should give us the detailed agreement entered so that we can see who's in default, what has happened over the years, because this concession has been up for almost 12 to 13 years now.
Manager, Rivers Ports Complex, Yusa Ibrahim Anji, was pleased with the visit. He urged the committee to use its office to facilitate sustainable development in the ports for increased productivity.
Their main stake is to ensure that everything in this country moves smoothly. That they promised, and my management is going to participate in that promise they made that they are going to mediate.
In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
The closure of Nigeria's borders has opened more opportunities for local production and processing of frozen chicken deemed healthier for human consumption in Rivers State. The multiplier effects of job creation and wealth generation of this initiative is giving rise to the call by keen watchers for its sustenance. This, they say, can be achieved through collateral support for the CBN's anchor borrower scheme by the state government. Kingsley Amaji reports.
The present administration's anchor borrower program through the Central Bank of Nigeria, launched in November 2015, targets smallholder farmers who engage in the production of identified commodities across the country. Benefiting farmers are expected to be in groups or cooperatives of between 5 and 20 for ease of administration. So far, only 80 farmers in Rivers State have been able to access the CBN fund owing to the collateral condition. The poultry farmers in Rivers State are, however, concerned that their colleagues in other states are benefiting immensely from the CBN program.
We have over 2,500 registered farmers in Pan, Rivers State chapter, but only 80 benefiting because of the little collateral. Question we ask, can't you approach your governor to guarantee you?
Experts stress that for the federal government anchor borrowers program to make the right impact, the government should sustain a border closure program to encourage local production and patronage.
The government should continue to maintain the border closure until we sign a meaningful agreement with our neighbors. And not only an agreement, but there must be a monitoring and evaluation committee.
About 520 auxiliary jobs are reportedly created in this processing plant in Rivers State, arising from the derivatives created by the investment of the first 80 beneficiaries in Port Harcourt. Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Between January and November 2019, the Eastern Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy arrested 320 suspected pipeline vandals and pirates. The command also destroyed 180 illegal refineries. It reeled out these achievements and more at its ceremonial parade and sunset in Calabar. Paul Abel reports.
The ceremonial parade by officers and men of the Eastern Command of the Nigerian Navy as part of activities marking the end of year celebration. Despite challenges and the upsurge of suspected smuggling in the eastern flank due to the land border closure in the country, the command during series of operations was able to arrest 8 vessels, 145 large wooden boats, seized more than 19,000 metric tons of petroleum products and more than 30,000 liters of crude oil.
We've achieved a lot in the command. To have launched the paperless office is not a little achievement. It's great thing.
The ceremonial sunset is an age-long tradition and one of the activities commemorating the 63rd anniversary of the Nigerian Navy. The lowering of the ensign and the national flag signifies the end of year for the Nigerian Navy and ushers in a new year.
Ceremonial sunset is one of the naval traditions world over, aimed at fostering friendship and esprit de corps.
Other achievements captured in the period under review by the command include introducing maritime crime control management systems for crime monitoring and information sharing, as well as providing potable water for host communities as part of its corporate social responsibility. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Rhoda for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you very much. African First Ladies were celebrated at the ongoing International Conference on AIDS and STIs taking place in Kigali, Rwanda. This followed their various efforts and interventions at eradicating mother-to-child transmission of HIV and AIDS on the continent through Free to Shine campaign initiated by African First Ladies in 2018. Basi Itaipan reports.
An opportunity to reflect on the national, regional, and global leadership role of the First Ladies and interventions in their countries, especially on the health needs of the people. It was acknowledged that their interventions led to the reduction of HIV and AIDS-related deaths by 45% and 28% of new infection since 2010.
HIV-positive families are linked to health centers and adherence to
ART treatment is ensured through the follow-up of a network of community health workers and peer educators.
So we have seen significant progress in Africa. 85% of pregnant women living with HIV are now on ART, and that is up by 43% since 2010.
They also identified the social determinants of health, such as gender violence, child marriage, gender inequality, poverty, which have continued to contribute to HIV among adolescent girls and women in the region.
Where 2030 is around the corner, and we have these women who are left behind.
It would be recalled that 2 years ago, the Organization of African First Ladies for Development and WHO signed an agreement in February 2016 to work together to end HIV and AIDS, enable political commitments to eliminate cervical cancer and stop maternal, newborn, child and adolescent death in the African region by 2030. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
As part of efforts to build mutual relationship between the military and civilians, the Nigerian Air Force has taken free medical outreach to Ikeji-Ile community already. Local government area of Osun State, Femi Afarogun, reports that over 500 people benefited from the program.
Located in the valley in Oriade local government area of Osun State, the people of Ikeji-Ile are predominantly farmers. Joy in their faces as the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, picked their community as one of the many that will enjoy free medical outreach.
Live next to food is medicine, and medicine is life. So they have really come to give us life.
This is the first time whatsoever. It's deeply appreciated.
The gesture is to further ensure cordial relationship between the military and civilians.
Today we are here, tomorrow we may be another place. The Chief of Air Staff may direct us to go to another community. So you can't attend all community one day. So we are here today, tomorrow we'll be in another place. So I can assure you that the plan to attend to virtually everybody based on the Nigerian Air Force capacity is there.
This will also further enhance our community or relation with the host community.
Mosquito nets were also given to pregnant women and nursing mothers in the community. From Ikeji-Ile in Osun State, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Now for more reports, we'll join Bright, who's in our Enugu Network Center. Bright, it's over to you.
Thank you, Rhoda, and welcome to Enugu. Medical tourism and brain drain currently posing a serious threat to healthcare delivery in Nigeria will be a thing of the past if health workers are given the necessary attention by government at all levels. This was the consensus of speakers at the annual National Scientific Conference, Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Federal Health Institution Sector, held in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Kingsley Ononiwu reports.
Annual conference provided nurses, midwives, and other stakeholders across the country the opportunity of cross-fertilizing ideas on how to improve healthcare delivery in Nigeria.
It is our belief, and it is our understanding, it's our own contribution towards complementing government efforts in its drive at the achievement of sustainable development goals for the citizens of this country.
The Secretary to the Imo State Government, Uche Onyagocha, advocated the creation of nursing practitioners in Nigeria as obtainable in America in order to solve the problem of scarcity of medical doctors in the country.
We must do everything possible to reduce the excess problem and challenge of quacks in the nursing industry.
Other speakers, including the Imo State Commissioner for Health and the event's keynote speaker, say human life is not replaceable and enjoin Nigerian nurses and midwives to intensify efforts towards putting an end to avoidable deaths.
Patients' comfort depends much on the healthcare workers, and can only be achieved when there is harmony.
The theme of this year's conference is collaboration for effective healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Nurses, a voice to lead in Owerri. Kingsley Ononiwu, NTA News.
Imo State University has benefited from the intervention of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, with the construction of the institution's Senate building, among other facilities. The Executive Secretary, TED Fund, Professor Suleiman Bogoro, who inaugurated the projects, assured management of the institution that federal government remains committed to advancement of the education sector. Rina Ohiri has details.
Tertiary Education Trust Fund, known as TES Fund, was initiated by the federal government to manage and disburse education tax fund to higher institutions in Nigeria. So far, evidence abound in most institutions where several projects have been executed. The visit by the TES Fund team, which also include Secretary, Nigeria University Commission, NUC, and Chairman House Committee on Tertiary Education to the Imo State University, is to inaugurate the University Senate building, Faculty of Humanities block, housing offices and classrooms, fully furnished female hostel. The Executive Secretary, TED Fund, restates commitment to effective utilization of funds towards provision of conducive learning environment across universities in the country.
We're so impressed with TED Fund presence. It is very, very glaring. This imposing Senate building is, you cannot miss it as you enter this university. I'm very happy to be associated with it.
The Vice Chancellor, Imo State University, Professor Obi Obasi, appreciates the federal government and TED Fund for the intervention, which has given the institution a first lift.
Yes, it's a fact. The university didn't have hostels before now. Today, you can see my students in the other hostel.
Representative of the Imo State Governor and the State Commissioner for Education, Professor Viola Onwulere, expressed satisfaction with the quality of job done and urged TED Fund to keep up the good work. In Owerri, Rina Ohiri, NTA News.
Time now to take another message, and when we come back, we have sports. So stay with us.
Kogi Africa turns 20. We thank you. Invite you to join us in the quest for 20 must-visit destinations in partnerships with the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Transportation, Studio 24, Delta Airline, Toll Brokers International. You too can still be a partner. Call the numbers on your screen or info@gogeafrica.tv. Goge Africa, celebrating 2 decades of heritage, travel and tourism.
My name is Aminu Goronyo. I am the National President of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, the biggest commodity association in Nigeria and by extension in Africa. I have 12.2 million rice farmers under my platform. The issue of border closure, to me and to RIFAN as an association, does not just limit within what benefit our farmers are getting. It goes beyond that. The importance of border closure is about Nigeria and Nigerians. And in no distant time, Nigerians will begin to see the importance of border closure, because we cannot continue to be dancing to the tune of other people.
This Saturday on the Premier League, AFC Bournemouth go head-to-head with Liverpool.
You're welcome back. Honor was yet again bestowed on one of NTA's family, the late Akinloye Oyebanji, who passed on July 2019, with a street named after him in the Capital Territory. Ayodeji Makinde captured the moment and now reports.
The brief street inauguration, which held at NTA Quarter, Idu area of the Federal Capital Territory, was graced by the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, management staff of the NTA, and Vice Chairman Abuja Municipal Area Council, Lawrence Onuchuku. The 110 meters road close, named after one of Nigeria's veteran sportscasters, late Akinloye Oyebanji, is described as a mark of honor which will inspire many, especially the younger generation, to rededicate themselves in service of fatherland and humanity.
Be committed, be patriotic, and give your 100% to your job. And you'll get the reward, no matter how long it takes. The rewards will surely come. Akinloye is no longer with us, but we keep talking about him. We keep saying a lot of good things about him. Why? Because while alive, Akinloye impacted positively.
members of the late Managing Director, NTA Properties and Investment Company, appreciated the DG, NTA, and AMAC for immortalizing the late Akinloye Oyebanji.
He wasn't serving again, but you took it upon yourself to look after him and to organize a very befitting funeral for him.
Akinloye Olusegun Joseph Oyebanji was the pioneer general manager of NTA Sports 24 and retired in 2016 as a director after 35 years in civil service. In Abuja, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
It's on that note, we close shop on Nationwide today. We thank you for watching. On behalf of myself and the crew, we say do have a lovely, lovely evening.
He is my son. He didn't learn any of the things that we learned growing up.
In AJ, right?
Oh no. How long do I have? If you're watching this, it just means that I am dead. Estate. I want you to spend 7 days in Ajimule. Kroger, who be that?
Yeah, I need your help.
You just say if you afford my help.
Tell me, what are you really doing in Ajimule?
If only the boy lasts 1 day, One day, he will still learn something. Wait,